What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Monday, September 15th, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. So what you're looking at here is a French nuclear-capable fighter jet on the ground in Poland, and this picture was taken yesterday from the Minsk Mazowiecki Air Base in Poland, which is known as the 23rd Tactical Air Base in Poland. That is the former home of Poland's MiG-29 squadrons, and it's about 30 miles east of Warsaw. So we have French nuclear forces now deployed to eastern Poland, just a few dozen miles away from Russian forces deployed in Belarus on the border of Poland. Now, these fighter jets are part of the Escadron de Chasse 24 Lafayette Squadron of the French Air and Space Force. And this squadron is one of France's only nuclear fighter squadrons with the deterrence force, which is equipped with the ASMP nuclear-armed air-launched cruise missile. Okay, so they moved nuclear-capable fighter jets from France to eastern Poland, just east of Warsaw. And we don't know for sure if they moved any of those ASMP missiles along with these fighter jets, but you don't move your nuclear strike fighters to a country for no reason, okay? These fighter jets, their main role is launching air-launched cruise missiles with nuclear warheads as part of NATO's nuclear forces, okay? In a war with Russia, these fighter jets would be deployed. Okay, so this is very, very serious. We have French nuclear forces on the ground in Poland, just a few dozen miles away from Russian forces. And here's a picture of one of these fighter jets up in the air on Saturday when there was a drone incursion again in Poland. Russia sent more drones into Poland and Romania, and these planes were scrambled. And you can see in this picture they were armed with several Mica long-range air-to-air missiles and external fuel tanks. Okay, so I think they deployed 3 of these, but these fighter jets are the Dassault Rafale B, or also they use the Mirage 2000s for their nuclear strike fighters. But this is extremely serious, guys. And yesterday we had about half a dozen nuclear war command and control planes airborne over the continental United States throughout the entire day, which is very unusual for a Sunday. Here you can see 3 of them up in the air yesterday afternoon. And the New York Times is reporting that Marco Rubio said that Trump is preparing to launch his largest military action of his second term, and it's going to be against Venezuela. He stated that interception no longer works, and what will stop them is blowing them up. He's talking about the cartels. He said the President of the United States is going to wage war against narco-terrorist organizations. Wow. Okay, and we know that already several F-35s have arrived in Puerto Rico over the weekend. C-130 from New Orleans arrived in Puerto Rico, a tactical airlift plane that can be used to drop off special ops landed in Puerto Rico, okay? And yesterday a reporter asked Trump, do you think you will start with strikes on mainland Venezuela? And Trump responded by saying, well, we'll see what happens. Wow. Okay, so we know what that means. He's going to be striking Venezuela. It's going to happen soon. And Poland may start shooting down drones over Ukraine, according to the Polish foreign minister. And in response to that, the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, said if NATO shoots down our drones over Ukraine, a war with Russia will begin. Now, I want to remind you guys that Russia is doing this massive exercise on the border of Poland and the Baltics. All of the Baltic countries and Poland have shut down their airspace along the border of Belarus and Russia. Poland has deployed tens of thousands of troops and hundreds, if not thousands, of tanks and armored vehicles to the border of Belarus as a precaution. Poland has summoned their National Guard last week. So, very tense situation there. And the UK, that's Great Britain, has summoned the Russian ambassador over the unprecedented violation of NATO airspace. Okay, so he's talking about the Russian drones that flew into Romania and Poland on Saturday, and then like the 20 plus drones that flew into Poland last week. And the Polish president signed a new resolution consenting to the presence of foreign forces from NATO in Poland. This was announced by Poland's National Security Bureau. So Poland is going to allow NATO countries to be fully deployed in their country, okay, according to the president. And President Trump will arrive in Great Britain on Wednesday under the highest security a world leader has ever seen. Trump's security will be even higher than that of Bush, who made a 4-day visit in 2003, 6 months after Saddam Hussein was toppled. The multi-million-pound police operation will involve one of the largest drone deployments in police history, and Trump will travel mostly by helicopter. Wow. And U.S. military officers observed the war games with Russia and Belarus on Monday, and were told by Belarusian Defense Minister Viktor Krenin that they could look at whatever is of interest of you. The attendance of the Americans at a training ground in Belarus was presented by the country's defense ministry as a surprise. Who would have thought how the morning of another day of the Zapad 2025 exercise would begin? It said in a statement noting their presence among representatives from 23 countries, including 2 other NATO member states, Turkey and Hungary. The ministry released a video showing 2 uniformed U.S. officers thanking Krenin for the invitation and shaking his hand. We will show whatever is of interest of you, whatever you want. You can go there and see, talk to people, the minister told the Americans who declined to speak to reporters. So we have American observers observing this exercise in Belarus. And the U.S. Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio called the Russian drone incursion into Poland, or drone attack, an unacceptable and dangerous development. But he also added the question is whether the drones were targeted to go into Poland specifically. If that's the case, if the evidence leads us there, then obviously that would be a highly escalatory move. There are a number of other possibilities as well, but I think we'd like to have all the facts and consult with our allies before we make specific determinations. So the only way that 30 or 50 or whatever, how many drones flew into Poland would randomly go into Poland is that if, let's say, Ukraine was using jamming technology and they jammed a whole bunch of drones, and the drones lost their guidance because of the jamming, and then they accidentally flew into Poland. And Trump also commented about Venezuela, saying, we don't like what Venezuela is sending us, whether it's their drugs or whether it's their gang members. So we know Trump really dislikes Maduro and Venezuela. And the Venezuelan defense minister said on state TV that the U.S. has tripled surveillance operations on Venezuela, adding that morning and nighttime patrols have begun now. Okay, so basically round-the-clock surveillance near Venezuela. So I'm telling you guys, we're going to see strikes on Venezuela soon. The question is when. I don't think it's going to be too long from now. And the question is, how ambitious will Trump get? Is he just going to strike a few small targets and then give Maduro the opportunity to surrender or leave power, whatever? Or is he just going to do one massive shock and awe attack that's going to involve bombarding hundreds of targets over, let's say, 1 or 2 nights, You know, we'll have to wait and see how he's going to do it. Is he going to do it in a phased approach where, you know, he starts with a couple of strikes and then says, hey, Maduro, you should surrender, and then he strikes a little more, and then he strikes a little more and just slowly escalates, goes up the escalation ladder? Or does he just immediately launch a huge decapitation strike to just take out Maduro, his government, plus the cartels all in one shot? That's what we're going to find out. And U.S. fighter jets intercepted an aircraft that illegally flew over Trump's New Jersey property over the weekend, resulting in warning flares being deployed. So I'm pretty sure that was an accident. Somebody probably didn't know that there was a no-fly zone over his property and just flew right over. And here we have a U.S. sub-hunter that was flying really low off the coast of Russia here in the Baltic region. And the Ukrainians launched a massive drone attack on Russia yesterday. Supposedly dozens, if not hundreds, of drones were involved. They flew towards Moscow. Here's a huge train that was hit somewhere in western Russia by the Ukrainians, and it caused the train to derail. And this train was carrying logistics for the Russian army, so fuel and ammunition and things like that. Here we have a picture of Mike Huckabee, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, and Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, praying together at the Western Wall. Mike Huckabee and Marco Rubio visited Israel over the weekend. And then here we have video footage coming out of North Dakota. They had some insane flooding in Bismarck, North Dakota. Look at that, guys. Absolutely insane. And many areas of the country are actually in a drought, like here in central Pennsylvania. We're in a bad drought. We haven't had rain for months, basically. Very light sprinkles here and there. But that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I'll keep you updated. I'll be back later on tonight with a live stream, probably closer to midnight Eastern time. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP Shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP Shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video.